Fair enough, Soph. And on to politics. And in recent days, two independents have announced a run for the federal seat of Higgins. Apparently, they want a job share a seat in Parliament. Here's what constitutional expert Anne Twomey had to say.
There is a lot of confusion going on here about the interaction between the Constitution and legislation. What about Section 57 of the Commonwealth Electoral Act? It says this: one member of the House of Representatives shall be chosen for each electoral division. Couldn't really be much clearer than that, could it?
Soph, I appreciate what they're trying to do, but they're taking the piddle a bit, aren't they?
Well, Caroline, in theory, I think it all sounds great, but in practice, I think it's going to be very hard to make this work. And how can you be juggling such a critical role and sort of going, oh, I'm off this week, you pick up the pieces, and then I'll pick them up the following week? And I think that's pretty problematic too for constituents who perhaps want to be in touch with their MP and they're not sure which one. Do we prefer the one that there's week one or the one who's on the second week? I think it becomes a bit blurry. So in theory, I think the idea people probably like, but in practice, I think it's very difficult to be able to make something like this work.
I agree. And you also think about when you get to the other end of things and you're coming up towards an election and you want to hold your MP accountable. Well, which one are you holding accountable? Which one do you like what they've done or not like what they've done? Which one are you voting for? I actually think that there becomes very difficult on the other end when you are looking for that accountability in your MP. Anyway, on to the international scene. And as you well know, we've seen a continued escalation in the Middle East. The US is apparently trying to avert a full-blown war. But with Biden's shambolic record on foreign affairs, you only just have to look to the US exit from Afghanistan, along with this week his mix-up of Rafah and Haifa. I really don't hold a great deal of hope, Soph. But what does this effort involve and who's actually doing the heavy lifting here in the US?
Well, you would hope it would be Biden. I mean, he's the man in charge, and his tenure could well be up at the upcoming election. And how he handles this is very critical, Caroline. But we know that there was a lot of issues after those deaths of the aid workers and whether the US would be wavering in its support of Israel. But look, this is up to Biden to sort of lead here and show that he can, be authoritative in these situations. But I think his track record has shown that when it comes to these tough challenges, he's not always the man you want there in the top job.
Look, I don't have a great deal of confidence, I won't lie. But so the fact of the matter is the US are the big kids on the block. The rest of us are all watching this. How do we have confidence in the US when they don't seem to be really sure about their position themselves?
Well, Caroline, that's the million-dollar question. How do we have confidence? And I think whether Americans have confidence in their own president will be shown later this year. But I think many people believe President Biden is not the man for the job. He's not up to being president and he's not good in these tough situations. So that is the million-dollar question that a lot of people will want answered. But and many people, I think, would argue if President Trump is president, he would handle things quite differently.
I think that's fair. I think he definitely would handle things differently. And speaking of things that would probably be handled differently, we've seen some shocking footage out of Columbia University in the US. Here is a Jewish professor being barred from his own campus.
Back up, please. My card has been deactivated? Why? Can you back up, please? Wait. Whoa. Everybody, my card has been deactivated. This is Cass Holloway, the COO. This is Gerald Lewis. They were in the meeting where I asked them if Hamas is a terror organization, and they couldn't say. I am a professor here. I have every right to be everywhere on campus. You cannot let people that support Hamas on campus and me, a professor, not go on campus. Let me in now.
So if the professor makes a really good point here, he should be able to go anywhere on campus. It's not a crime to be Jewish. What happens next here? Who's taking responsibility for this?
Well, this is the problem, Caroline, with universities across the world. We've seen many people at these universities become activists. And I think it's really concerning, like you say, that he can't just go about his business without being attacked by this. And I think it's a sad state of affairs when our universities can't all live in harmony and operate in harmony and carry on like that. And I think there's really got to be a clamping down on it. But this is a pretty sad state of affairs, unfortunately, Caroline.